Hello again. I'm here with another 3 book reviews. This ones are for Shudder by Melissa Larsen, Childgrave by Ken Greenhall, and of course, my next in my Bentley Little saga, The House by Bentley Little. So, let me play my intro, and then I'll see you right back. And I am back. So, let's cover Shudder first. This book, I got this from the library, but let me read what this says here. A young woman agrees to star in a filmmaker's latest project, but soon realizes the movie is not what she expected in his chilling debut novel. In the wake of her father's death, Betty Works doesn't allow herself to mourn. Instead, she pushes away her mother, breaks up with her boyfriend, and leaves everything behind to move to New York City. She doesn't know what she wants except to run. When she's offered the chance to play the leading role in the mysterious indie filmmaker Antonio Marino's new project, she jumps at the opportunity. For a month, Betty will live in a cabin or a private island off the coast of Maine with a 5-person cast and crew. Her mother warns against it, but Betty's too drawn to charismatic Anthony to say no. Anthony gives her a new identity, Lola, and Betty tells herself that this is exactly what she's been looking for, the chance to reinvent herself. That is until they begin filming and she meets Sammy, the island's caretaker, and Betty realizes just how little she knows about the movie and its director. Okay, first off, I'm going to say that this book, in a lot of places, is classified as horror. This is not horror. This is thriller, definitely. It's definitely a thriller book, but I do not consider this horror. I definitely consider this thriller, and to be honest with you, it's not that great of a thriller either. As you can see here, it didn't have, it's 3.5 stars, so it's not really, a highly rated book, and which kind of upset me, because when I first heard about the topic and read the synopsis, I thought, this is good. This sounds like a book I really want to read. It reminded me of maybe something like Starry Eyes, if you ever seen that movie. Really cool horror movie about, a woman, getting into something. It could be a hostile thing. Who knows what it could be. Really, it's just like a revenge type of story. All of the characters are really not the greatest characters. They all kind of have their own little hang-ups and problems. And like I said, in general, I did not find this book interesting. I would not even recommend this book. The only thing I could say about this book that is at all good is that it is better than this book. So, the second book I'm going to talk about here is Childgrave. When photographer Jonathan Brewster's 4-year-old daughter Joanne tells him about her new invisible friends, he doesn't think too much about it. But then he sees them for himself, weird and uncanny images of the dead appearing in his photographs. The apparitions seem to have some connection to Childgrave, a remote village in upstate New York with a deadly secret dating back 3 centuries. Jonathan and Joanne feel themselves oddly drawn to Childgrave, but will they survive the horrors that await them there? The third novel by Ken Greenhall, whose works are receiving renewed attention as neglected classics of modern horror. Childgrave from 1982 is a slow burn chiller that ranks among Greenhall's best. Writing in Shirley Jackson's precise, sharp, chilly prose, Greenhall delivers a slippery book that can't be pinned down, all about special photography, little dead girls, snowbound small towns, and a disquieting proposition that maybe God is not civilized. And Grady Hendrix, author of Paperbacks from Hell, mentioned this. Oh my God. I loved Hellhound. He did Hellhound. Ken Greenhall. I really liked Hellhound. I might read Elizabeth one day, but Childgrave, I did not like this book. This is going to be, I guess, my rant about this book. This is one of those books that you read, and it's almost kind of like a horror movie deal where it's like, why are you going into that room? Why are you doing this? This book is full of, like, I don't understand these people's motivations. I don't understand if you have a daughter and she's talking to imaginary friends and you take pictures of them, you find out they are dead people. Do you really want them to spend time with these people, with these friends? Do you really want to take your child to a town called Childgrave? Is that going to really kind of, bang you over the head with it? There's also, he has this relationship with this woman. He's in love with this woman, and it doesn't explain why he's so much in love with this woman to the point where he's going to risk. It doesn't make sense. The motivations of these characters, the way these characters act, does not make sense. The ending is kind of anticlimactic. It is an anticlimactic ending. And all in all, I just was not impressed with Childgrave. Sadly, this is going to be one of those times when, I wasn't really crazy about either one of these books. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I guess I could put it. And while like I said, I did think Shudder at least had some kind of redeeming quality, Childgrave had none, because I just could not understand these characters. I couldn't understand their motivations, couldn't understand why they were acting the way they were acting. He never really explained why they were acting the way they were acting. Hellhound was, to me, a way better Ken Greenhall book than this, and I just was not impressed at all with this book. And that's sadly my review for Childgrave. Now, let's get into my next Bentley Little book. 5 strangers from across America are about to open the door to an unspeakable evil in this horror novel from master of the macabre, Bentley Little. They share a dark bond, a haunted childhood, a shocking secret, a memory of the house they lived in, each one eerily identical to the next. From the remote foothills of the West to the green lawns of suburbia, they are returning to the past, to the unspeakable events they long to forget, to the house. Now their journeys are about to converge in a terrifying challenge to confront their nightmares or be trapped inside them forever. I found this book interesting. I have problems with it, but I don't think it is a bad Bentley Little book. What I think this really is, if I'm going to really describe this book, is this is Bentley Little does a stand. It's funny that you see, a little blurb from Stephen King here, but about, him being talking about this book, since this book does really remind me of The Stand. Of course, they always have that Master of the Macabre, Stephen King's quote on like every one of Bentley Little's books. It is kind of interesting. But just like The Stand, I mean, it doesn't have, it's not sweeping like The Stand. It's not this huge tomb of a book. But it is about, 5 different people from different walks of life. They start having dreams. They dream of a particular place. They dream of a particular person who, instead of being Randall Flagg, this is, this creepy young, prepubescent type of girl who, in one time, somebody uses the R word again to describe this girl in one of the characters' reminiscence about this girl, but it's not in all of them. So it wasn't as bad as Death Instinct. I know one of my commenters mentioned this book before I read it, when I talked about how I didn't really like Death Instinct because it really put a bad light on mentally challenged people. House doesn't do that much. It's only, like I said, it's only one time one person's recollection of this girl, and this girl is kind of different for different people, even though she's the same girl. You could obviously tell. She's basically this really creepy, prepubescent girl who has sex with people and kills them. Kind of. It's Bentley Little, so of course there's going to be sex. But she's basically the Randall Flagg character. There's this real creepy kind of butler character that would be, I guess, like the good person in this war between good and evil type thing, or this barrier between good and evil. That's technically what the house is about. And all in all 5 characters, I really liked the way they had their nightmares, the creepiness of it. There was actually a really good intro about a couple of people who had these horrible things happen to them. And it was really good until they all met. Once all of the characters in the house met, it did kind of lose its luster for me a little bit. It wasn't as good of a story for me. It didn't do what The Stand did. It didn't really combine these characters as well as The Stand did. And the ending, it's kind of predictable, I guess, where it was going to go. I'm not going to say, again, I don't think this is a bad Bentley Little book. I think this is pretty much a typical Bentley Little. I don't think it's anything really great or really bad. It's just average in my mind. And that's my view on House. Again, I've read bad Bentley Little books, and I've told you the ones I think are bad. I don't consider this a bad one, but I don't really consider this really a good one at all. So it's somewhere in between. So sadly, this trilogy of books that I read this time, there weren't any that really stood out as really, really good. House is just average. And the other 2 I would pretty much stay away from, sadly. And those are my reviews for this month, for this 3-book review. If you sat through all of these, again, thanks again for watching, and I really hope to see you soon. So, bye.